I'm still at the shelter. It's 8 o'clock. Just pork rind up the hill there, and maybe a camper out there, who knows. I only have like 4 miles to go to the hostel, the cabin, and not that cabin. Uh, so I'm probably going to think about heading out. It hasn't rained this morning or last night, but the clouds are totally overcast and breezy, and good chance it's going to rain at some point today. So I might get wet even this morning. I don't want to get to the place too early. Yeah, not being a regular hotel per se, so kind of aiming for around 11, 8, 9, 10, yeah. No, not much earlier than that. I'm just going to take my time. And then I'll figure out things like, well, shower, figure out where my shelters will be, and resupply. A lot of things to consider. And go into town. And I can't remember if they have dinner at this place or not. Anyway, go eat somewhere in K-Town. I said he's going to make a reservation there for tomorrow, so he'll be there with me for my zero. And it'll be nice, and maybe we'll head off again and continue meeting up at shelters, that type of thing, along the way. So, looking forward to that. So there's another side note. The young guys that camped here in the shelter last night, I think there were 3 or 4 of them. Yeah, 4 of them. Trying to do the whole trail in 100 days. So they were trying to do 20-some mile days, and I think they were doing 24, 28 today. They're going to Nero in Front Royal, going to the diner to eat, get stuff, and then moving on. We're hoping to be in Harper's Ferry tomorrow, which for me will be, well, at least 2 days after I get back on the trail. It's really not that far away, and I guess that part called the roller coaster is there. It's just the, section where it goes up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down for a few miles. Hills aren't that tall, so short of them being really rocky, kind of like the terrain in this campsite. If it's rocky, that'll be a real pain. The problem there is trying to figure out, well, what kind of mileage can you do in a day? So when I'm at the cabin, I'm really going to have to figure out what's along the way. And I've also noticed that there are a few hostel-like places that are between here and Harper's Ferry. So maybe not even do a shelter, you just go to one of these hostel-type places. One is by donation. They only have 4 bunks, though, so that's a bit of a problem. If you get there and you can't bunk, then you have to tent, and if the weather, I don't know. And I'm sure more bad weather is coming based on the end of yesterday and today. I knew the weather would not be great, but I think K-Town has said that he was going to take a zero because of thunderstorms coming through. So I'll be walking in the rain through the roller coaster, and yeah, shelters will be important. So to get an early start and get to that shelter and get dry. So I figure it'll be 2 days to get to Harper's Ferry. I got the impression from the guys here that it's a bad resupply point, so I will have to load the other map and figure out, or we get a wall guide and figure out what is in like 5 days or so, and carry the food I need for that entire length of it. It'd be nice to maybe just be able to say, screw it, I'm going to do 2 days and get what I need, just carry 2 days worth of food and that type of thing. It'd be nice not to have that extra weight. But I don't know, and maybe I get to the shelter or one of the hostels, and it's a little shorter of a day than I had planned, but it looks kind of neat. Maybe I'll stay. That's the thing. I need to be a little bit more flexible. Sorry, coming out into the light here. I was saying to Pork Rind before he left, we get set in our ways. We wake up and we know where we have to be at the end of the day, and poof, off we go. And if there are, like there were in the Virginia section, these waysides, you pull out to them and enjoy the, crappy milkshake or whatever it might be, just to do it, something a little different. And there are potentially some historic things. Somebody was talking about how Washington, D.C. Is not far away. And I thought, well, I'd like to go to Washington, but now it's like, oh gee, I got to think about where would I go to get off to go to Washington, and then how do I get from the trail to Washington and find a hotel and do a 0 there or 2, that type of thing. So I'm going to really have to look into that, because I would like to go, and it's going to impact my trip and how long I'm on the trail and all, and of course the weather. So these are the things I didn't think I'd have to really think about until later, but they're coming up a lot sooner than I thought. I expect when I get to New York I'll see Sarge. I sort of hope so. Maybe he can put me up in his couch or something like that, or just get a hotel. And anyway, maybe he can take me out to a neat restaurant or drive me around, see a bit of the sights, help me out, because I would really like to experience a bit of New York for a couple days before getting back on the trail again. That's the other highlight of the trip, New York. After that, it'll be, I don't think anything really comes to mind that I really want to go to or do. Sort of getting to Katahdin. So, anyway, it's getting close to 8:30, and so I should think about putting the pack on. It's all packed and ready to go, and just start walking. I mean, it's light out, so I don't think there's any imminent rain. It'll probably come later in the afternoon, so I think I'm going to get away with it. I hope so. I see a bit of direct sun up there, so it's popping through here and there. It's good news. A little bit of a breeze. Hopefully it don't smell too bad. Put some insect repellent on, a little pad as I happen to have in my bag, because my repellent spray came up empty a couple days ago, or a day or so ago, and these little bugs, they're just landing on me all the time, and just teeny little things, and I could feel the bite, so a bit of a pain. Anyway, they're not landing on me now. So, okay, I guess the next time I see you, I'll be either showing you about the trail, or I'll be at the cabin. If you reason out how to get to the cabin from the gap I have to get off at, and walk in a certain direction for a certain distance, and like for a certain driveway with a rock wall, blah blah, that type of thing. So, but I'll get there soon enough. So, again, talk to you later. Since I had so much time, I thought I'd take the side trail to the 4-H. Not sure what it called. Anyway, they have a pool and concession stand, and it's the concession stand. I thought, well, I'll come down here, maybe get a pop or chocolate bar or something. I don't know, just something to take up a little bit of the time today. See some nice houses on the hillside. There's a little parking or picnic thing over there in the background, and yeah, some nice houses on the hillside. Probably great views. Yeah, see a nice pond down there. Some people probably camping in the area. Who's to say? Anyway. See the pond down there. Anyway, well, let's see what I can purchase. though the pool is wide open. It's not open until noon. I talked to someone who I think might work here. We're visiting. Anyway, there is no store around here that they know of. So it's a bit of a waste of a time and effort to walk down here. Oh well, now I know. I used to live up a little time. A lot of blue sky, a lot of cloud. Very warm, very humid. Oof. Maybe sweating a little bit. There you go. Little fish study. Fish and water study? Yep.
Yep, water quality.
Yeah. Oh, thank
Hello.
you. Take a look. Empty water bottles. Oh, beer and water. Oh, I'll take a water. And frozen water. Shoulder water. What the heck? Getting a little confused at the crossing of the AT to the highway with the directions for this place. It says gate 7, so I'm supposed to turn left at gate 7. Well, 0.3 beyond the pass on the northbound. That's what I should have just said. It's very confusing. I'll get there. Anyway. Very confusion. After I went and reread the sign, it says turn left at the gate 7 sign, which I did. Take me up the AT. But I think it meant turn left on the highway and walk down the highway. Who writes these directions? Brick road, or wall mentioned, and it said the first stone cabin, I think on the left it said. That brick building's the cabin where I'm going. This big property. Cute little, is this the face? Yeah! Should have remembered you to buy. One bedroom there, one bedroom here.
Breakfast is served every half hour from 6 to 8:30 or something like that.
Super. Okay.
It was good too. Up in the main house, there's a bigger bathroom in the main house if you want to go up there.
Well, a little later for the big shower.
Yeah, shuttles to town whenever you just gotta talk to them.
Okay.
In 1863, the family sent Annie to boarding school at what is now Hollins College in Roanoke. She died of typhoid fever in 1864, so she never made it back home. So way of remembering Annie is to spell Cabbin with two B's.
Okay, I like it. Very nice.
We got another 4,000. Nice. Wow. That movie premiere was done right here in Front Royal. Bing Crosby and our state senator were good friends. They actually raised polo horses together out here.
I guess they didn't make the movie here, though.
No, they didn't make the movie.
Oh, just.
But Front Royal has made some movies out here. There's an independent movie company. We did, there was a murder mystery they did right here in Front Royal
Okay.
back a few years ago.
Yeah.
It's on Amazon.
Neat little town.
They've got a lot of old photos of Front Royal around. The picture over there is when they were building the Skyline Drive during the Depression.
Yeah, it's like for 12 hours instead of 16. These are jokes.
Only if we get on around like 6.
6.
Now they know which one you were. So apparently part of the story of this house has to do with a young girl who was sent off. Oh, there was something about the Civil War, and she remembered writing or wrote down about what it was like to have the Union soldiers looking through the windows of the kitchen, looking for deserters and that type of thing, for people hiding. And anyway, there was something about I guess at some point she had to be sent off to school somewhere, and where they sent her, she contracted typhoid fever or something and died and never came back. And I guess she spelled the word Cabbin with two N's or two B's, I can't remember what it is, the misspelling, and they maintain that misspelling kind of in her honor because of the sad story. Just a fire across the street somewhere. I heard a fire truck taking off over there earlier. Anyway, this is the cabin here, and I believe that one of the original buildings too, which was a house for hens and that type of thing, or something like that. I'm not sure. Just ate a container of strawberries and blueberries that I'd bought at the grocery store, and hadn't ate real fruit or much fruit for a while. So it was a good serving, but certainly won't be enough. They have pizza, frozen pizzas here that you can buy for 15, I think, and containers of ice cream, Ben and Jerry's type of thing for $4. I might be having one of those. If they had a blender, I'd use my chocolate milk and make a milkshake. Hey. And but I don't know, I might ask if I can go down and go to Pizza Hut or something like that and get a large pizza. I'm not feeling hungry at this very moment, but I should eat. Lunch was pretty good, that hamburger and fries. But I need more. I need more. Well, I had frozen pizza for dinner. Didn't go quite well because I put it on the oven on a timer, and I guess the timer ended. I didn't realize it was just sitting in a slowly cooling toaster oven. And then when I realized, I turned on the toaster oven, and just so it's on. And ultimately, it was cooked, but a little bit cool in the middle, so could have been a lot better. I had put extra pepperoni on it because I had pepperoni that I'd bought for lunches. And I was just standing here in the mudroom of the cabin with a double B or double N, I can't remember, double B I think, and look for the sign. And the guys upstairs kind of chatting away, talking about different places they've been on the trail and that type of thing. Just thought I'd do my closing editorial for the day. It was fairly relaxing. I took a look at my feet, and I used a razor blade to cut the buildup of hardened skin along the two pinkies, kind of like form a thin line. I don't know, maybe your toes have the same problem. Anyway, I thought they were possibly causing a problem, missing a little bit of callus here and there. Very carefully, after watching a YouTube video about a guy doing that type of work professionally, a podiatrist, it was so engrossing to watch. I thought it would be gross, but I kept watching, and it's like, how can you cut that much skin off and it not hurt anybody? It's basically dead skin that's been growing on top of a corn or something like that, and it just keeps building up and it becomes painful. And so self-medicated, as you might call it, before. I had kind of corn on the outside, the ball of the foot type of area, and it was a pain, so I took a razor blade and I started cutting it down. I got it down to the skin. Anyway, it was kind of gross, and it sounds painful, but it wasn't at all, and it worked. So I'm glad I watched. Anyway, I had a new clean razor blade, and after it was done, I put it in bubble wrap in the garbage, and hopefully nobody gets cut from it. Anyway, that gross story aside, I've got food supply just for like 3 or 4 days. Just going to Harper's Ferry, and from Harper's Ferry, the tentative plan is to go to Washington, D.C. for a night. I've checked a few hotels on Travelocity, and not terribly expensive. It might, if 2 people would be maybe $100 a night, and then come back to Harper's Ferry, and stay on a train. The train is only like $11 or $14, depends on the day, I guess, and then continue on. So I'd like to see some monuments and that type of thing, and Low-Gear City was interested in getting to Harper's Ferry, or to Washington, D.C., so maybe he and I, and maybe something like K-Town even, might be interested to make that little trip. I'll talk to K-Town when he gets here tomorrow. And yeah, it would be a nice adventure to go with a couple of the guys and see some stuff rather than just do it on my own. It's simple enough to do. Just go to the train station, go to Washington, D.C., and from Washington, D.C., get an Uber to wherever your hotel is, and hopefully the hotel isn't too far away from where all the monument stuff are, and Uber even around town to get there and have lunch and dinner, and then take, I don't know when the train leaves, I have to find the schedule, but dictating that kind of stuff. It might be 2 nights in Washington. Anyway, blah blah blah. The idea is not complicated. Just send a little bit of money, and I'm sure I can afford it. And it would be a great experience. I'm hoping to do the same thing in New York, but with Sarge's help. Maybe stay at his place and get driven around or taken around with him, since he certainly knows the area, having lived there all his life. So, this place that I'm at, the Mountain Cabbin Hostel, is really kind of neat little building. The little kitchen that I had shown earlier. All the things in there are reasonably priced. The frozen pizza was $5. A container of Ben & Jerry's or the other gelato is, I think, $4. And when I checked at the grocery store, that's what they cost. So I'm definitely going to have one of those tomorrow, probably for lunch. And breakfast is included, and I'm going to be having eggs, fruit, yogurt, and a coffee. And that will be up at the big house, up there, wherever it is. Oh, it's that white blob up there. Anyway, I'm going up there tomorrow, 7 o'clock, that's the time I picked, to have it. Maybe a little bit earlier and having a cup of coffee and just quietly chatting. Since this is a whole day and not doing anything other than relaxing and like going back into town if it's not raining, and just looking around. I'd gone to the post office, mailed off another package to Peter, sorry Peter, containing my down jacket, which I hope I really don't need, and down hat, one pair of darn tough socks. It's just too short for, you know, the height I would want for bug protection, and I put permethrin on the other one earlier today that I kept, and a couple t-shirts that he and Kate can have if they want, or just leave in the bin, and hopefully he can air out my jacket, because I have slept in it, and you know, when you have sweaty clothes or wet clothes, whatever, you know, it may have picked up some aroma more than the underquilt would have ever, and so I may have to air that out, or put Febreze on it or something to avoid having a problem. Maybe put it in a plastic bag and just closing it up, you know, so it's dry, but it's not going to interfere with your life any more than it has to. And you can send it on to me maybe later when I need it, when the weather's colder, going north. Other than that, I think that's it for the night. I'm going to have a nice big glass of water because I can go to the bathroom very easily here, and get to bed and keep chatting with the boys, and have a good night.